your mother saw this ad in the paper.
Had you finished night school by then?
Oh yeah, I finished that all. Had all the licence I was ever going to get.
And were you a top grade student?
Oh, pretty good student, yeah.
No. It's just interesting to know because look, you're shit clever, incredibly practical. But were you a top grade student? Were you okay good?
No, I was okay good. I was best. I don't know. I never thought about it.
That's all right.
Never failed the exam. Never.
I have. Don't worry about
I haven't failed the exam.
that. Yeah, I've failed enough.
No. And
It's that bad education you gave me.
but then there was this ad in the paper, and I rang up. Dorothy said, "Ring up. You need a job. They need a man to look after their electrics on oil rigs." I said, "Oh, well, we'll find out." So I rang up, and it was what's the name of the drilling company? It'll be here for sure.
Where was it? In the Bass Strait?
Yeah,
It wasn't a Canadian company, was it?
yeah, it was.
They were the first platform in the Bass Strait.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll find it. I was looking at it the other day because it's quite famous.
Yeah, that's called Barracuta platform.
No, I'll find the name of the drilling company.
Victor Borden Drilling, there it is.
There you go.
Yeah. Victor was an English company, a drilling company.
Borden.
Borden was a Canadian company.
Yep.
Borden couldn't come into Australia as Borden Drilling. But if they joined up with another drilling company,
They could come in.
so they joined up with Victor Borden. And then, and when I got on, first of all I was down at Barry's Beach when Jodie was born. And I was going to be number 2 out because they hired another bloke before me. And he'd gone out to the platform and he was working out there, I thought. So I was still at Barry's Beach. I didn't mind,
Is that where they built it?
yeah, put it together. Yeah. And he was number 1 and I was number 2, and that suited me. Except I was only there 4 days or 5 days. And I had it running, I knew how it all worked. So it was easy to make it run down on the beach. But now I was about to turn it all over. The bloke drives down and says, "Get all you can jump in the car." I said, "What about my car? I'll bring your car along." So we drove up to the SO base between Sale and Barry's Beach. He said, "Right, you're out, you're going to the platform. Come in there, they'll give you boots over the hat, away you go." I said, "What's going on?" He said, "Bobby Arthur, the guy in front of you, he nearly had a nervous breakdown. He didn't know what he was looking at, I said, "Well, you're hiding." And the bloke called Top Fortin, who'd worked for Victor, he came out of the Australian company. And he'd been Victor's electrical man for 10 years. And he said, no, he was going back to take up his old job in Victor's in Queensland. He didn't want any more of this fucking shit on the platform.
So that was the first time you ever went to a platform?
Oh, yeah. Well, there weren't many platforms around in those days.
No, this is the bit. So they literally, you got the job working for Borden's, not for Loanings, you were working for Borden's.
Yeah, I didn't even know about landings then, son.
You were working for Borden's when they put this thing together?
Oh, yeah, shit, yeah.
And then they said, go out and don't take over?
Myself and 3 other guys, all Canadians, 1 driller and 2 tool pushers. They said, "Right, George, what have we got to do?" I said, "What we've got to do is install all this shit." And they had all the cables laid out the floor. It was a fucking shambles. And he connected them, and he connected them wrong. And I thought, so what we want to do is get the connections right. But we can't leave these cables sitting on the floor. Get damaged and you'll be out of business. What are you going to do? I said, "Well, where's all the cable tray? Hasn't it been ordered?" "No, where's fucking full? Get chock full." Oh, he's leaving. Well, before he fucking leaves, tell him, say, "George Harrison, where's the cable tray?" And he sends a message back, "Oh, your predecessor, the electrician."
Said it wasn't needed.
And I said, "Well, it is needed now. There's 2 things you can do. You ring the cable company, I'll give you both names, Darren Worrell. He's located in Richmond in Melbourne. get hold of him and tell him I need tomorrow morning all the brochures for his cable trays.
Mm.
And by the end of the day, I'll have an order for him worth several $100, maybe thousands of dollars. But he comes along with the material.
Mm.
And don't be frightened of water. And he turned up. He did. He came on a workboat the next day. 2 days later, I'm sorry. He got all the stuff on a semi-trailer, drove straight to Barry's Beach up to the pier, and the boat was waiting for him. And his name was Messport, something like that. And they loaded it all onto the ship. I told them to put in bundles that we could just chop the crane down,
Pick it up.
put it up, sling and bring it all up. They sure did that. And they had boxes and boxes of things. He said, he came on the platform, he said, you've probably got too many joints. I said, don't worry about too many. I only ship myself, I haven't got enough. He said, and we'd never met. And I said, well, I'm George Harris. And he said, and he told me his name, we shook hands. I said, the first thing you do is get you a bed, get organised. He said, no, you don't need this. Do what you're told. You don't get a bed. We finished in the middle of the night, it's raining, we're not walking in the fucking rain. You won't have anywhere to sleep. It's the most uncomfortable platform to be on at the time. He said, right, so he got a bed, got his overalls on, boots, hat.
So what they do? They float the rig down.
No, shit, no, it doesn't move, it's just front legs, but driven into the body.
Oh, they put the rig in place,
Yeah,
and then they put,
piles down through the legs.
and then they put the platform
on top.
and then they went, what you need to do is you need to go fit it out and get it going.
Yeah, well, that's right, but you always build it in modules on the beach. Then when you go out, you have a crane big enough to pick up the module and put them in place in the crane on the decks. You gotta do it like that.
So you had no one showing you what to do?
No, but I knew how to work it out. I worked it out. And these 2 Canadian guys had a set of drawings.
Data set drawings.
Yeah, they had a set of drawings, but nothing about the electrics. And when we got it all up the top, he had all the drill crew, and a lot of the drill crew had a lot of brains. You know, the clever guys, they've been in these rigs for fucking ages. Mind you, they hadn't been on a flash floor. But there was a couple of Australians, one Aboriginal, a really smart cookie.
Mm.
And I said, right, this is what we got to do now. Look, I'll tell you how it works. All the cables sitting around along the side of the platform like that, and we'll put brackets out from these solids, then we'll lay the cable tray on top of them, and we'll lay the cable on them, then we'll cap on the top of that so it never get damaged. All right? I said, right. So we ran all the cables around the back. There was, if I remember correctly, 22 cables, 1 inch in diameter, solid copper.
Shit, mate.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's a big gear. The motors on these things, on the derrick, on the draw works, they call it draw work, and there must be pictures upstairs of draw works and all that.
Mm.
They're 1,500 horsepower each. All right, so they've got 2 motors at 1,500 horsepower. You can imagine it, you know. Now,
You still got a copy of the video of you going around the North Sea rig somewhere?
well, I think it's probably that, I don't know. Anyhow, there was that until I put it all together. And on the 3rd day out there, the drill crew were bursting their guts. They had that's all the drill pipe there. This drawing's not right.
Mm.
But that's all the drill pipe there. And they picked the drill pipe up, and they haul it up. A big block comes along, it's got a big hook on it. The hook on these derricks weighs 15 tonne.
Yeah, that could kill you.
You've got to push the fucking thing out of the way at times. It gets a little bit awkward. I'll tell you about one of the drill crews.
So this was the first rig in Australia?
Yeah. First platform. Wasn't the first rig. There's floating rigs that have been in Australia.
But there hadn't been one which was built into the ground?
No. All the work, Bastrop, all the exploration work was done by Glomar 4.
By?
Glomar 4. Glomar 4, I'm sorry, come out for was an American boat, Louisiana.
What, and they'd go around and drop the holes
No,
to do the exploration?
I drill the holes down. When I get to the depth where the geologists tell me I've got to get to, then they should find oil like that. And when they do that, they cement they put a casing in.
Yep.
But when they drill a hole, the first one to go down, about 3 foot in diameter.
Mm.
And that bit there was only, I don't know, 24, 48, 96 feet pipe. So they put that in, then they put the next one inside it.
Hang on a second.
Then I spent because the Canadian guys, Lloyd Beach, Barry Malthouse, Arthur Prime, I think his name was. All these guys, they said, don't go, don't leave,
We'll take.
don't leave.
We'll take.
The bloke out there, you
What?
know, bloke out there, his name was Brian Tech or something. Anyhow, he said, oh, I wouldn't do it like that, I'd do it like this. Well, you do what you like, mate. I'm not telling you how to do it. But tell you what, I can tell you a fucking good reason why you shouldn't do it the way you want to do it. He said, you're serious, aren't you? I said, mate, I spent fucking hours upon hours getting this up. Well, how did you know about water landing systems? I was fixing water landing systems when I was an apprentice in Dunlop Rubber, Port Melbourne. That's it. So when I come up here, it's only a matter of just watching it, being a bit more careful, because on the oil rig, they were 750 volts AC. And that was then converted through a big directional unit that turned it into DC. And you have to be careful. The rotary table, that when you're drilling down, you don't push them down. The weight of the pipe is such. The drill pipe I'm talking about now, not the casing. The weight of the drill pipe is such a 19 pound a foot. All right.
Is some pressure the drill pipe will.
Steel pipes. And then a hole right down the middle so you can pump the drilling fluids down through the middle of it.
Okay.
You know. And you got to remember, I never knocked the drilling systems because these blokes have been drilling on these things for 30 years. They knew them like the back of their hand.